Hi, Suzette. How are
Hi,
you?
Bev. I'm well, thank you.
Good. It's so lovely to be discussing today. Well, people say, relationships are such hard work, and cherishing what you have is really putting some of that hard work into action and really receiving the good from putting in that effort. So, one of the baselines that I think I'd like to jump off from is that we all have the right to be happy.
hmm Yes.
Um, Go ahead.
Well, our brains are so wired for negativity. They're why our brains are so wired to focus on what's missing or what's negative, and miss the positive. And so I think this like cultivating, cherishing your partner is focusing on the positive and what's there. And that's a practice that you have
Right.
to really intentionally do.
So, some of the things that we could do that, as you say, and it's an intentional practice, is number one, to acknowledge what our partners have done and express gratitude for it. And then, what I've noticed in my own life is that the more I express gratitude, the more I notice the abundance around me for which I can express gratitude. So, it doesn't have to be something big, it can really be something really small. But just giving it voice and acknowledging can be very powerful. That's one thing. The other thing is to actually then get into action and express your love and your feelings through doing kind deeds.
Yes,
What would you
absolutely.
add
Like
to that?
it's one thing if you just think about the good that your partner does and you're cherishing in your head, but it's another thing to actually demonstrate that with words and actions.
Exactly. And like anything else, people tend to think, we have a relationship or I'm in a relationship. But a relationship is actually the work that we put into it. It's
Mhm.
really this connecting. You'll feel if I'm feeling you, you'll feel if I'm a little bit tense or if I'm calm. That is the work of relationship. And what I always remember, Thomas Hubel says so beautifully that urgency is the enemy and your breath is your friend. It's been with us since the moment we came into this world. It's been with us through all kinds of times in our lives. And that will help us with the mindfulness when we think, wow, what can I notice around me today that my partner has done that I'd like to acknowledge? Or what is the action I can take to show my appreciation?
Yeah, and I think it's such an important part of this cherishing and mindfulness is not about perfection. It's about noticing effort too, and maybe they are making attempts to do something you've asked them to do, even if they don't do it all the time or they don't do it to your expectations, but the effort is there, the progress is there. So it's about really noticing progress. And as Terry Real says, when the glass is 15% full, noticing that, appreciating it, taking it in, accepting it is part of that cherishing and cultivating the good and the progress.
And I love what you said that it doesn't have to be perfect because we're all imperfect beings. But if we can celebrate that glass 15% full, if we can celebrate what he calls the micro improvements that we have, rather than looking at the disappointments.
Yes.
If we can amplify it, if we can acknowledge it, we'll get more of it.
Yeah. And I think that's the difference between cherishing and just like trying to be positive, and ignore the bad. Like we need to pay attention to what's not working. But cherishing, I imagine, is like a little plant that we're watering and caring for and nurturing, so that it continues to grow, so that we get more of the good. So it's
Right.
not just we're ignoring the bad. It's just we're really watering and caring for what is there so that it can keep growing and keep expanding in our relationship.
And to just highlight what you said about not ignoring the negative, if we can turn that negative clearly into an expression of what we want, that's
Mhm.
also cherishing as Terry says, don't scratch me here, scratch me here, telling our partners what we need and then helping them, empowering them to come through for us. That's true cherishing and nurturing.
Absolutely. And I think I know I forget that. And you can always frame something in a cherishing way. Like, I care about you so much that I want our relationship to be this. And, you can always frame things in a cherishing way.
I love that. Thank you. And I think
Thank
a
you,
great
Vanessa,
conversation.
as always.